Hello, good morning everyone. Very warm welcome to Code Free IELTS classes. I'm Tanu Vimani, an ITP certified trainer and a TEFL to Solve certified trainer. So I'm back with my live session number 8, and the topic of our session is what are the do's and don'ts of your IELTS speaking, especially in the part 1. What things you need to remember while having the part 1 of your IELTS speaking module. So before starting this session, I would suggest you that if you are new to this channel or watching this session for the very first time, please go back to all those 7 sessions and watch all those 7 sessions of the speaking module and then watch this session. So you will be on track with us and you will be able to crack IELTS, especially the speaking module, in a detailed manner. Now, what are the do's and don'ts of the IELTS speaking module? Now, what is basically do's and don'ts? Do's and don'ts means what you things you need to remember, what you need to do in your speaking test, and what you are not supposed to do in your speaking test. So, while considering all the important factors, you know that speaking part 1, it lasts for around 4 to 5 minutes, and you will be asked questions on the familiar topics like your job and study, that whether you work or you study, about your family, about your hometown, about your home, about your hobbies, like whatever you like, whatever you dislike, they will be describing about or asking you questions on the same thing, right? Now, what are the do's? Before starting this, you need to remember that speaking part 1 allows you to do something and not allow you to do something. That means what are the do's and what are the don'ts of your speaking part 1, right? So you can see that before you start your speaking test, you should know about all these factors. The very first thing is know what to expect. You will probably be little nervous and you don't want any surprises that will make you even more anxious. So you must be aware exactly what will happen when you walk into the room of your test, your speaking test. So before part 1 begin, 4 things will happen. You need to know all those things. The first thing is that examiner will introduce themselves and they will ask what your name is. So you can simply reply, my name is this. Make sure that you use the contraction names rather than name is. This will remind you to use contractions. For example, I am, we would, they will, right, in the rest of your test. So you can introduce yourself by simply replying for your name. My name's this, right? Instead of rather than my name is. Okay, so do remember for this contraction whenever you start with your very first thing of introducing yourself. The examiner will then ask you, what can I call you? You can simply say, you can call me Dash. If you have an English name, it is fine to use it. You can you can just speak about any kind of a nickname you have, but make sure that you pronounce it correctly. Okay, if you can't say your own name properly, it does not create the best impression because you're not able to speak about your own name. So if unsure, just use your normal name, right? Do not talk about any other nickname you have if you're not able to speak about it. Third thing, they will then ask you where you are from. So simply you have to talk about your state, your city. I am from, so you are from dash. You can just talk about your name of the state. There is no need for you to give an extra information about any answers at this stage. You're not allowed to give any other, like any expanded answer for these questions. The examiner will finally ask to see your identification. Now you can show it to them and then the test will begin. So by knowing these 4 things will happen, that these 4 things will happen, you will be more confident and you can start your exam well. So be prepared that you are going to be asked these 4 things, right? The examiner will be asking you these 4 things once they start with the test. Second thing, create a good first impression in the front of an examiner. Many students, they usually ask me that if they smile or friendly, they give examiner a good eye contact, they will be getting the good higher marks. The answer is no and yes also. There is nothing in the marking criteria which says that if you are good with the examiner, if you are smiling, if you are being nice, or if you are looking the examiner in the eye, it will improve your score. But yes, however, if being confident help you, it will have an effect on your answers also. So if you are confident and you can give your answer to your best, that will also reflect in your answers, right? So if you look at the floor and give the impression that you would rather be anywhere in the world apart from in the room with an examiner. So you will normally give very short monotone answer and this will lower your score. So you can maintain a little eye contact, be smiley, be friendly, be confident while giving the answer. Okay. However, if you are open and friendly with the examiner, you are more likely to give natural sounding answer because this is a conversation between you and your examiner. So you have to sound natural whenever you are going to present your answer. Don't overdo the eye thinking, right? So don't do that eye contact thinking, that thing basically. It feels really strange when someone looks you straight in the eye for complete 15 minutes. Pretend that you are having a normal conversation with a friend. If you were looking at the floor the entire time, a friend would ask you if you're okay or not. So if you were staring them dead in the eye, they would get a bit freaked out. Okay, so pretend it is just a normal conversation and you will be fine. So create a good first impression in front of an examiner. Third thing which you need to do is pretend you are interested in the questions. So let's face it, most IELTS questions are somehow boring. If you listen to someone answering a boring question, you will notice one thing, their voice is monotone. That means it does not go up or down in pitch at all. It sounds completely flat. There is no up and down of your tone. So if you speak like this, you will get a lower mark for your pronunciation because one parameters, one criteria says how is your pronunciation. So because one of the crucial factors you will be tested on is intonation. Intonation means the up and down of your speech, how you're speaking. Is it a flat one or you are showing that variation in your speech, right? So when you talk about native English speakers, when native English speakers talk, their voice naturally fall and rise depending on how they feel what they are saying. They, when they speak, they show their up and down, the rise and fall of their speech, their voice basically. So imagine you are late for a class, right? You walk into the room and the teacher says to you in a falling tone, sit down please. They are probably telling you through their intonation, they are not very happy with your lack of punctuality, right? So however, if they say it with a rising tone at the start, they would probably be telling you they don't mind that you are late and are happy to see you. So you can show your skills by your tone, by your rising tone and by your falling tone. Similarly, if you pretend that you are interested in what the examiner is saying, then your intonation should become more varied, right? You have to vary with your tone. However, be careful that do not do anything like overdo here. Okay, it make your voice really high or really low because you will sound like a crazy person. So it depends on what you are speaking, how you are speaking. And for this practice, you can listen to the native speakers talk, that how they generally have a conversation. You can copy their intonation also because it will give you an idea what natural intonation sounds like. Okay, so for this you can practice listening to the native speakers talk. It will help you in understanding how you have to copy the intonation. Next one, extend your answer. Now, there is no set of amount or sentences that you should use in part one. It is not given anywhere that you have to use this much amount of words. But advisable thing is that they should not be too short, because you want to show the examiner that you can actually use English. You are able to communicate in English. So, I am a student is not really long enough, right? However, they should not be long either, because part one is on familiar topics, your family, your work, your hobbies, your likes, your dislikes. And you don't normally talk for 2 minutes when someone asks you, where are you from? Also, you will have lots of opportunity to give long answers in part 2 and in part 3, because you know that part 3 is all about discussion and part 2 is all about you have to speak continuously for 2 minutes. So as a general rule, if you only give a single sentence answer with a single clause like I'm from Ireland, then your answer is too short. I also don't think part one answer should have more than 3 sentences, right? Something in between is just right. Rather than giving a single sentence or a single word answer, part one answer should ever have more than 3 sentences. Okay, so you can extend your answer, but not very long, not very short. Fifth thing which you need to do is practice. Now, as I have clearly mentioned in my last session, that do not memorize your answer. It is a very bad idea to prepare memorize answer before your speaking test. But because part one is very predictable, you should be practicing the familiar topics, right? You can practice about the familiar topics, but never memorize your answer. Memorized answers are the one which is, I would say, you will never score higher with those answers. Try recording yourself, listen back, and think about the following questions, or I would say the following things. Notice from your first test to the next test that how much you have improved. Could you improve the vocabulary? Like in the first test, what were the vocabulary you have used, and in the second one, how you have improved? Did you make any grammatical errors that can be fixed? Did you speak fluently or did you speak at a natural speed? How was your intonation? Did you extend your answer enough? Did you speak clearly? So check, record yourself, try practicing on the baby code application, listen back to your answers, and then check all these questions. Try again and keep practicing until you are really confident about talking related to your common topics, because part one is all about your familiar topics, right? So do remember that you have to practice with these 5 things. You need to know that what you are going to expect in the part one. Then you should create a good first impression in front of an examiner, right? Third is that pretend you are interested in the question. Always show that yes, you are interested in the question and you are going to present a very good answer. Next is extend your answer. Don't let the examiner ask you the same question again or elaborate on the same question again. You yourself has to extend your answer, expand it. Next is practice. Once you are doing your practice, you're practicing on a daily basis, record yourself and think about all the following questions: that how your speech has improved, how your speaking has improved, does it have like fluency with a natural speed or not, did you improve the vocabulary or not, are you speaking clearly now or not, did you extend your answers enough or not. So start asking these questions, check, start doing the self analyzation also. Now what are the don'ts? We discuss about do's, now let's talk about what are the don'ts. Giving yes and no answer. This might sound very obvious, but you would be surprised how many people they simply answer with yes or no. This is because of the like I would say this is because many of the questions would naturally lead you to a yes or no answer. But you must remember that you are in a test and you have to show the examiner how good your English is, because they are testing your speaking ability. That are you able to communicate in English well or not? What is your level of language here, right? So if you are going to give an answer in a very short format, how they are going to elaborate it, how they are going to evaluate your skills. Giving yes or no answer does not allow the examiner to judge your ability, and you will get a low mark or no matter how good your English is, because you haven't elaborated, you haven't expanded it. Some people give yes or no answer because they are very nervous and they want the test to be over as soon as possible. Examiner is not there to trick you, and most of them are nice people who want you to do your best. So don't be afraid to tell them that you are a little nervous, and this will normally relieve your tension. Right? This is your speaking test. If you're not going to speak well, how will they evaluate? Right? And I would say yes, definitely there are lots of examiners who are very nice, right? So they will make you feel comfortable that you should not be very nervous, but yet try to not lose your confidence level. Next is go off topic. Now, some students they try to tell you their life story or the entire history of their hometown when you ask their name and where they are from. Remember that these are very simple questions, and if you have given more than 3 4 sentences, you are probably giving irrelevant details. You are not required to give here irrelevant details. You have to be little specific, and 2 3 sentences, that's enough. For example, I recently asked a girl what she did in her free time, and she told me everything there was to know about badminton. I did not ask about the rules, history, or the great players, or the positive and negative of the sport. Just which sport she liked and why. So remember, you have to answer in a specific way related to the topic. Do not go off the topic. If you go off the topic, again, you are giving the irrelevant responses. This is not an expected answer from you. So examiner wants I would say a proper answer from your end, what he asks, and you have to reply the same. Okay. Next is giving no answer. Now, I would say never leave a question unanswered. You don't get to choose the questions here. If you don't know the answer to a question or simply don't like the question, you don't have a choice. You have to answer it. I would say you must answer it. Remember that part one is about you. There will be no question you don't understand because they will be about you. It's all familiar. Even I would say the complete speaking test does not have any question which you are not able to speak about. Part three is also a discussion round where discussion will be on the basis of your Q card topic, right? So if you don't understand one word in a question, it is acceptable that you should ask the examiner to explain what that one word means. It is also acceptable that you should ask the examiner to repeat the question if you didn't quite understand it, what they said. However, do not use it for every question. Only use it when you think that yes, now it is necessary. Okay? If you really have no idea, be honest with the examiner. Tell them that you don't really know. Then have a guess. It's not an examination of your knowledge. It's a test of your English language. So it is perfectly acceptable to make something up if you're really stuck in between. Okay, you can talk about it. They are just checking your structure of language, that how well you can speak. They are not judging your ideas here. Okay, not the knowledge of your ideas. Next is speak very quietly. Now, this is one of the most annoying things for the examiner, because no matter how good your English is, if we can't hear you, they won't give you a high score, right? If they are not able to hear you, how can they give you a score? So this has a lot to do with the confidence and shyness. Make sure that you are not talking to the floor. Speak a little louder than normally. Examiner will be recording this test. So it has to be loud enough for the recording device to pick up your voice, right? This is a complete recorded examination. Try recording yourself, play it back. If you can't hear yourself clearly, then you need to increase the volume of your voice a little more. Now, when I speak, I generally speak in a higher tone, right? So, what you have to do is you have to start checking your voice, your volume of your voice, basically, I would say, right? That are you speaking quietly or not, right? Next is be a perfectionist. Now, examiner know that you are speaking in a non-native language because English is not your first language, I would say, if I talk about India, and does not expect a perfection from you. Even the people who score band 9, they also make small mistakes. Small mistakes are acceptable, and people who get band 7 and 8, they make a few, I would say, quite mistakes, right? So if you're constantly thinking about the perfect grammar and vocabulary, it will reduce your fluency and your pronunciation. Fluency and pronunciation, they make up 50% of your marks, because fluency and coherence is one parameter and pronunciation is one parameter. So 25, 25, 50% of your marks. So there is no point in trying to use perfect grammar and vocabulary if you're losing half your marks in the process. Speak as naturally as possible with a focus on speaking at a natural speed and clear pronunciation, and the grammar and vocabulary will look after itself. I hope now you are able to get that how you need to be a perfectionist, right? Even the native speakers, they also make some of the general mistakes. So just focus on your fluency and pronunciation. Okay, I hope now you're able to know that what are the do's and don'ts and which are useful. So whenever you are practicing for your speaking test, especially for the part 1, you can check here. Now, one thing I want to teach you today is that how you can extend your answers in the part 1, right? How to give part 1 answers and how to extend it basically. Let's see. Now, here are few things you need to know that how you can extend your answer from a short sentence to a more comprehensive answers, and that will sound better and you will be able to score higher bands. Now, when it comes to talking about feelings and opinion, you can easily extend your answer showing that how you feel about the question. Now, your first question is, what do you like to do in your spare time? Now, some students, they give a very short answer, I like shopping. Longer answer can be, I like shopping because I love trying on new clothes and I always feel more confident when I'm wearing a new outfit. So this is that you have extended your answer. Your short sentence answer has been changed into a more comprehensive answer because you mention about shopping and you give detail also that why do you like shopping. Next, when you have a contrasting details. So how you are going to contrast? How long have you worked there? I have worked there for 3 years. Now you can contrast your answer. I have worked there for 3 years, but now I'm going to change careers next year. So you are giving a contrasting answer here. You are extending your answer also. Next one, combining details. Instead of giving short answer, you can add some extra details with and, with, or also. Do you live in a flat or a house? I live in a house. So this is a very short answer. Longer answer can be, I live in a house with my 2 brothers and my mom. We have also dog, a cat. We have also got a dog and a cat, right? So you have expanded your answer. Past comparison. You have to talk about something related to now and the past. So you can talk about what you used to do and how that has changed now in the present. Do you play sport? I play football. So longer answer can be, I used to love basketball, but now I play football more because that's what my friends are into. So you are again extending your answer in the part 1 question. Adding reasons. Always try to explain why you think or do something in the test. You can do this using because or so. Do you like your job? Yes, I really love my job. Extended answer, I really love my job because I get to help people with their problems every day. So, why you like your job? So, as I have mentioned in the part one session when I was commencing it, that you should always extend your answer with why and why not situation. Even if the examiner doesn't ask you the why, you can extend your answer. Now, when it comes to future, if something will change in the future, you can use one of the future structures like will or will be going to or be going to. Do you work or study? I'm at the university at the moment. Longer answer can be I am at university at the moment, but I'm graduating next year and will hopefully get a job in advertising. So you have a can extended your answer here. Contrast opposite opinions. So you might be asked a question where you have to talk about your opinion and another person's opinion also. Use even so or although to show that you have considered both sides. Is your hometown a nice place for tourists to visit? And you give a short answer, yes, it has a really nice beach. But how to give an extended answer? You can say, yes, it has a really nice beach, although it is getting really busy these days, so it's not as pristine as used to be, right? So now you're giving an extended answer, right? Giving example. Real life examples are always the easiest thing to talk about, and you can talk about them in a natural way and a detailed way. Did you get along with your brothers? No, we are not into the same thing. Longer answer, we are not into the same things. Like when we are both watching TV, we always fight about what show to watch. So again, you are giving an extended answer in the part one. Frequency, you can use words like usually, never, always, more often than not to extend your answer. Your question is, what do you do at the weekend? Short answer, I watch TV and play computer games. Longer answer, I usually watch TV and play computer games, but sometimes I go out for a drink with my friends. So you are giving an extended answer here. How can I use this? Now, the best candidates use English naturally in your speaking test. They don't think, should I extend this with an example or talk about future? And then give an answer. Just reply spontaneously. You can improve by doing something I call practicing, slow and fast. Practice slowly first with exam questions, and I think you can extend your answer, even have notes and books in front of you. Think deeply what structure you need to use and focus on getting your answers perfect. You can then practice fast also with new questions without any help because you have studied the structure in detail. So first know about the exam pattern, the types of question that comes in your speaking module, and then you will be able to use all the structures naturally without any help, right? Now, can I use more than one? Some students ask this. Of course, they're totally flexible. Combining two or three of the above structure in a single answer is very impressive. But I would suggest you try to use them in a right context. Practice them slowly and then jump to your answer so that you know how to use it in a right context. Now, we have we did talk about today the do's and don'ts and the ways to extend your part one answers, giving when it comes to expressing about your feelings and opinion, contrasting details, combining some detail, talking about the past comparison, adding some reasons, talking about future also, contrasting the opposite opinion also. So you can also use these kind of structures in your part one, which is very effective to score band 8 or 9, right? So you can start practicing on the baby code application with multiple tests. They will give you the exact score which you're going to have in your speaking test. Apart from this, you can share your bands, you can share your star rating your feedbacks. If you want me to cover any topic, you can drop your comments here. Star ratings. Make sure you provide your comments so that I know that you are able to understand what I'm saying, right? With your comments, I come to know that yes, you are practicing also. You can check out a live session and on the baby code application as well as on the YouTube, right? And stay tuned for my next session. I'm going to come up with something new in the next session. It will be very helpful for you. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Care all of you.